Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. All I ask of you is to watch the video to the very end. This is my Carla series. Carla is the name I use generically for a modern woman. I have 3 real stories of a modern woman. They did not all happen to the same woman, but I'm going to use the name Carla for all of them. Meet Carla. Story number 1. Carla was in high school, and her friend Constance talked about constantly getting married, staying home, and having kids. It's all Constance talked about. After school, in between classes. At 18 years old, Constance graduated, and 6 months later, married her high school sweetheart. Carla went on to college and thought Constance was just out of her mind, so she lost contact with her, even though she still lived in their hometown. Carla graduated and tried to pursue some sort of career in her degree field. Instead, she took Obama's offer to be a teacher to excuse her college debt, since for years she couldn't find anything. When the city declared bankruptcy, Carla was out of a job. At 30, and with no man, no savings, and no one to claim for welfare, she became homeless. She moved back in with into her hometown to move in with her mother, quote-unquote temporarily. She saw Constance and her husband and her 4 kids. This is a true story. Constance told her she was on Facebook. Look her up. Carla looked at her profile and saw all the pictures and holiday gifts and food year after year, and saw Constance was happy. She cried herself to sleep that night. Her mother found her and asked what was wrong, and she told her about Constance. Her mother told her she had a month to move out. Story number 2. Carla met an NFL player. She tried to be friends with him desperately. She got invited to one of his parties. She called the police when the player would not accept her advances and falsely accused him of attacking her. The player actually had just returned to the house from being out. He had left the party an hour after it started, and his staff showed the police the footage of her being alone for most of the party. And several alibis said that the player was with them the entire time. I've done this myself. I've thrown a party and left the party to go play video games with my friends. Everybody, of course, at the party was my friend. I just found it boring because the people their plus ones were all boring, so they sat around gossiping and stuff. A bunch of girls. So at the time, I did not have a girlfriend, so it was not very interesting for me to sit around listening to girls gossip. The police did nothing to Carla over the false accusation. She went on to the tabloids and reported the story about the police coming over for the accusation. She was sued for that, and the story was not printed, but for 5 years she was on the hook for the verdict against her wages, garnishing her wages. She, of course, could not afford to pay off the actual verdict, but there you have it. Story number 3. Carla didn't need no man, and at the age of 35, she went and froze her eggs. When she turned 39, she went in because it was time. She was well into her career, but she didn't want to be too old to have children. The cost of the procedure was $40,000 each time. None of them took, and she was out of eggs 3 times. She tried to sue the clinic. The expert testified that the procedure has a 13% chance of success, and she signed an agreement revealing this fact in the actual documentation that she signed. So, out of $120,000, she was nearly wiped out of her retirement. No man, no children. In her desperation, she tried to secretly get pregnant with men. She suspected something was wrong. She went into her doctor, and he tested her and found she was infertile. She went back to her mother, who promptly informed her she, Carla, was not her child. She was the child of the neighbor who passed away after her husband, the neighbor's husband, had passed away. And she had promised to keep Carla for the neighbor. Her mother could not have children. The adopted mother could not have children. So she had never married, never have children. It's just ironic that Carla was the daughter of the neighbor who obviously could have children, but there was something wrong with the family anyway, because they had all passed away when she was an infant. There you go. Those are the 3 stories, modern stories. Those are all true. Everything is true. You can just copy paste one of the facts into Google and you'll find the story. Most likely. Thank you all for watching.